Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're going to be talking about a pair of figures that, if you've ever walked into a Chinese temple
Oh, absolutely.
or even just look closely at some traditional art, you have definitely met today's subjects.
You can't miss them.
We're plunging headfirst into the story behind one of the most fearsome and I think instantly recognizable divine duos in Chinese mythology, the Hum-Ha generals, or Hung-Ha or Zhang.
That's right. I mean, for centuries, they've been the quintessential door gods, the men Shen. They're always flanking an entryway, either sculpted or painted with these just incredibly dramatic, intimidating faces.
Right, one with his mouth wide open like he's roaring.
And the other with his mouth clamped shut. A perfect pair.
They seem like this singular unit, like they were always meant to be partners.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the later folk belief, and that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission today is to kind of cut through all that and go back to the source material, the classic Ming Dynasty novel, Investiture of the Gods, the Fengshan Yanyi.
And that's where the story gets really interesting.
Because when you actually read the novel, their origins, their loyalties, it's so much more complex. And honestly, it's pretty surprising. They weren't just a team that showed up together.
Exactly. Everyone knows them as the symmetrical powerhouse, but when we look at their literary backgrounds, we unlock this key piece of the story. Our deep dive is going to show that the Ha general, Chen Qi, and the Hum general, Zheng Lun, they were basically ideological opposites.
Opposites, wow.
Yeah, forced together by fate and war. Okay, so let's unpack this. We should probably start with the Ha general himself, Chen Qi.
Let's do it. So in the Fengshan Yanyi, who is Chen Qi?
Well, he's introduced as a very unusual, very powerful general Ayarin Jangling.
And he's a fierce loyalist to the Shang Dynasty, right? He's fighting for the bad guy, King Zhu.
He is. He is firmly in the camp that the heroes, the Zhu forces under Zhang Zia, are trying to destroy.
And his whole reputation, what makes him stand out in a book just full of wild characters, it's all built around this one signature move.
It is. His most famous talent, the thing he's known for, is this technique of opening his mouth and seizing the enemy's soul.
The Chinese for that is so vivid.
It's Zhang Ko Yi Ha, Shi Ren Hum Po. It's incredibly descriptive.
Okay, so that sounds, that's not martial arts. It's more like a direct spiritual assassination or something.
That's a great way to put it. It's essentially a sonic spiritual weapon.
So what's actually happening when he lets out that ha?
So that explosive ha sound creates this profound shock to an opponent's spiritual core, their Sinshin. It literally disrupts the connection between their body and their soul, the Hun, and their spirit, the Po.
And the effect is immediate.
Oh, yeah. Opponents just drop, they fall unconscious, they get totally disoriented, or if their own spiritual cultivation is weak, they can actually just die on the spot.
So he's literally weaponizing his breath.
Ugh.
But, what's interesting in the sources is that it wasn't some kind of I win button that worked on everyone.
Correct, and the novel is really careful about that. It was absolutely devastating against mortal generals, lower-tier fighters. It was a perfect shock tactic.
A surprise attack.
The ultimate surprise attack. But, and this is a big but, it was limited. It was way less effective against the high-level immortals. Their own spiritual core was just too fortified for his attack to really penetrate.
And visually, he just embodies that raw power, doesn't he? When you seem to
A
tip him.
pure aggression, a fierce, angry face, eyes wide open, that mouth just poised to let out that devastating caw. He's always in heavy armor, super muscular. He screams battlefield might, not, quiet spiritual cultivation. He is the Shang resistance.
Which brings us to the central irony, the whole point of this deep dive, because Chen Qi represents this pure, specific type of loyalty. But then you look at his supposed partner, Zheng Lun,
and you realize they have completely different roots.
Yeah, this is the part that should really change how you see them. Despite being this famous pair, they were not equals in the novel's spiritual hierarchy at all.
To get it, we have to look at Chen Qi's background again. The simplicity of it is what's important. He was a general who was not part of the major immortal sects that were driving the whole war.
Neither Chan nor Ji sect.
Exactly. He wasn't involved in that huge cosmic turf war.
And for anyone not familiar with Fengshan Yanyi, we have to stress, those sects are everything. They define the entire conflict.
Oh, absolutely. The whole war is basically between these two celestial ideologies. You've got the Chan sect, which is all about order, civilization, the mandate of heaven. They back the winning Zhu side.
In the Ji sect.
The Ji sect is much wilder, more chaotic. It's associated with, the myriad creatures of the world. Pretty much every powerful being in the story belongs to one of these two camps.
But not Chen Qi.
Not Chen Qi. He's an independent, a loyal soldier who uses what the sources call Yushu heterodox arts or sorcery.
So not a formal secret technique passed down from a grandmaster.
No. His allegiance is singular. He is a pure, steadfast loyalist to Shang. He's a classic Yishu Zuoguo figure using his unique powers to help the state, a real grassroots defender.
Okay, so that's Chen Qi now.
Yeah.
Let's contrast that with Zheng Lun, the Hum general.
His lineage is the complete opposite. It's not murky at all. It's crystal clear. Zheng Lun was a disciple of the Chen sect.
The winning side.
The winning side. Specifically, he was under Master Du Zhenren. That puts him squarely on the side of order, the side that's destined to win the war.
But hang on, that's the huge twist, right? Because during the war, he was sent to the Shang camp. He was serving as a Shang general.
That's the crucial detail. He's a Chen sect member destined to be on the winning Zhu side who is actively serving the enemy, King Zhu.
Wait, so if he's Chen sect, the very force that's guiding the rise of the Zhu, doesn't that make him a spy? Or at least someone with a really complicated dual loyalty. He's working against his own sect's victory.
And that's the genius of Feng Xinyani. It's just full of these narrative knots. Zheng Lun's role suggests the celestial plan was much bigger than a simple Chan versus Ji war.
So he might have been put there for a reason.
Maybe to fulfill a specific destiny, or to fill a slot on the investiture of the gods list, or maybe just to serve his time before fate caught up with him. But the point is, they were not from the same background.
One was a pure Shang loyalist with his own weird sorcery.
And the other was a Chen sect disciple temporarily placed on the enemy team.
So at their core, they're like two totally different reactions to the war. Chen Qi is the pure earthly resistance.
And Zheng Lun represents the complex maneuvering influence of the celestial powers.
And yet, they fought together.
Yeah.
And they were brilliant at it. So let's get into their battlefield synergy. How did these two opposites work so well together?
Their synergy was undeniable. It was devastating. The hum from the nose, the ha from the mouth. When used together, they were just incredibly powerful. They were defeating enemies before swords were even drawn.
Okay, so give us the breakdown of that combined attack.
It was like a perfect mirrored mechanism. Zheng Lun's Heng sound from his nose was said to seize the enemy's soul. That's duo hun.
Seize the soul, okay.
And then Chen Qi's ha sound from his mouth would capture the spirit. Sure.
Soul and spirit. Wow, so one hits the life essence, the other hits the mental vitality. That combination must have been, like, instantaneous.
Pretty much unavoidable for your average soldier on the battlefield. It's no wonder they became so famous. They were an absolute force of nature for the Shang army.
But like we said, there was a limit. So if we connect this back to the bigger Fengshen story, why did they ultimately fail? Why couldn't this sonic sorcery just win the war for Shang?
Well, it's a classic literary theme about fate, really. Their power, as potent as it was, just didn't work when they faced the top-tier opponents. Specifically, the Golden Immortal level character.
And the Golden Immortals are.
Yeah.
They're like a whole other level of power.
Think of them as having not just incredible cultivation, but a kind of divine protection that just renders lower forms of sorcery useless.
So that spiritual shockwave that would knock a normal general flat just
What?
bounces off a Golden Immortal.
It just dissipates, precisely. Their spiritual cores are too stable, too connected to the cosmos to be rattled by a sound attack. It really underscores the novel's theme that the Shang Dynasty's fate was sealed by powers far beyond what mortals or even heterodox generals could handle.
And in the end, both of them fall in battle.
They do. They both die, confirming their place on the Feng Shenbang, the investiture of the gods. They fulfilled their destiny, which was to die and be given a role in the heavens.
And that leads us perfectly into the last part of this. So what does it all mean? If they were so different in the novel, a loyalist sorcerer and a rogue Chan disciple, why are they always grouped together today as this iconic duo?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
The pairing we see on every temple door is clearly the result of, well, something that happened after the novel. It's folk integration, not the original story. So what were the forces that fused them together?
There were really three main drivers for this incredibly successful merger. The first, and maybe the most basic one, is just their complementary aesthetic, the symmetry.
Right. Hum versus ha.
Nose versus mouth, soul seizure versus spirit capture.
They just sound right together. They're phonetically and functionally perfect opposites.
Yeah.
They're designed to stand side by side.
They are a complete package, so that's reason one. The second reason is their shared post-death status.
Ah, okay. Once they're dead, Their old loyalties don't matter anymore.
Exactly. Jingxia canonizes both of them. They both get assigned similar jobs as heavenly generals. Because they're on the same divine payroll, so to speak, popular belief just merged them into one protective unit.
Shared job description beats conflicting origins.
Every time. And the third reason is maybe the most powerful force in all of mythology. Cultural absorption. They filled a niche that was already there.
They didn't just appear in a vacuum.
Not at all. Their image merged perfectly with pre-existing Buddhist protector figures that people already knew and loved. We're talking about the Jinglishi, the Vajra warriors.
Who often appear as a fierce paired set of guardians.
A fierce, symmetrical, paired set of guardians. In that iconography, one warrior typically has his mouth open and the other's is closed.
So the culture already had a template for a two-man aggressive security team.
They did. And the Fengshen characters, with their perfect hum-ha open-close thing, they just fit the role instantly.
And this all came together during the Ming and Qing dynasties.
Yes, that's when this syncretism really solidified. It gave Chen Qi and Zheng Lun this ready-made framework to become the common door gods, the Menshen. It's a really stunning example of how a novel creates powerful images, but popular belief decides what they ultimately become.
The public needed a pair of scary, symmetrical guards, and the book delivered the perfect candidates no matter what their backstory was. It's fascinating how the novel's tension just evaporates.
It does. It raises an important question. Our concise takeaway for you, our listener, is that while Chen Qi was a Shang general using heterodox arts, and Zheng Lun was a Chan disciple serving Shang, they weren't on the same page in the original story. The fact that they got unified later is all about the power of aesthetics and cultural need.
So you walk away with two truths. In the novel, they were ideological opposites. In the temple, they're forever the hum-ha generals.
And our final provocative thought for you to chew on is this. Think about how their fictional abilities, seizing the soul with a terrifying sound, were ultimately absorbed into the very tangible, very comforting practice of door gods guarding your home. That cultural shift shows how a story's imagery can turn pure spiritual fear into domesticated, symmetrical security.
Providing protection long after the messy, contradictory details of their original story are totally forgotten.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this gives you a whole new perspective the next time you see those fierce generals at a temple gate. We'll see you next time.